Hello, my name's Ed Britton and I'm the support manager here at HBXL, and this is the first of our ContractsXpert 2016 technical videos. This one is going to be having a quick run around the main menu and just show you the detail that's involved when you do an import from EstimatorXpress into ContractsXpert as opposed to manually creating a contract. Videos 2 and 3 will look at the manual creation of the different types of contracts we've got. This one we're going to look at an import. So, to start off with, let's have a look around our main menu. First thing you'll notice on the top corner here, we have the details of who the software is registered to. Here, that should be yourselves. If you need to change these details, you can very simply click on them, and you can then edit and add in further details. Okay, as per all sections where it talks about the address book and you creating the details for people's addresses, it asks you who that person is. So I'm going to say that I am the builder contractor. I could of course be the designer as well, etc. So in this case, I'm just going to say it's me. I'm not going to fill this all in for speed, but you can see obviously you want to populate this correctly. If you click OK, you'll see it's now modified my details up there. Okay, in the middle of the screen, you see that we have your recently edited contracts. So if I click on this house one, for example, it pops up and we jump straight into the contract, and then we can start having a look at that. So we'll go into that in more detail later on. Okay, so on the main menu here we have video tutorials that will link you to the page, probably where you found this video. Sort of videos there. The help will also take you to the internet to the support section for ContractsXpert on our technical site. Okay, the import job button, what this does is it takes you straight into this screen here where you can select an estimate that you want to import the details from. Okay, we're not going to do this quite yet, and it will then jump straight into creating a small works contract. Okay, we have an option of open the contract, which will give you a list of all the previous contracts you've made. So if this list is bigger than what you can see on the screen, if it's an older contract, using the open contract will find all your old ones. Okay, and then the new contract, amazingly enough, will create a new contract either manually or give you an option to import the contract from Estimator. Now, just a quick word on the importing of a contract. Before you do import a contract into Estimator, into ContractsXpert from Estimator, there's just one little thing you need to do within the estimate itself. If we go to this estimate here that I'm going to bring in, my new house, I'm going to open my estimate. I'm going to go into reports, and in here there's an option that says delete zeros. We're going to click on that and we're going to remove resources with a cost of 0. Okay, once I've done that, back to my summary and close the estimate. Okay. Now what that does is it stops the import into contracts bringing across build phases which have got a £0 value. Otherwise you'll end up with a whole range of, or potentially a range of build phases with a cost of 0. Now you can delete those, but if you remember to do that beforehand, it's a little bit easier. Okay, so let's import a contract from Estimator, or import a contract data. So we're going to go I'm not going to go via the import job. I'm going to show you the extra options you've got by going through new contract. So at this point you have a choice of a subcontract or small works. Okay, so we're going to do a small works one first. Click next. And it's going to say, right, do we want to import it from Estimator or create it manually? Okay, I'm going to run through a manual contract small works style in video 2. So video 1 we're going to just do an import. Okay, so this is a list of my estimates. You may notice these lists tally up. I'm going to scroll down, find my job that I want to import, which is new house 1. Okay, and this has got the details. It's got my price with and without inflation. Okay, so obviously depending on what options you've quoted the customer, you need to set that up. It's got my client's details, the site address, the job duration, what sort of level of detail I want in the contract. So the contract has an option to show the items that are within the quote or not, and if you are showing items within the quote, you have various levels of details. Okay, and then you also have an option of whether you're going to have milestone payments or not. So your milestone payments are linked to build phases. If you say no to milestone payments, what you can do is actually show your payments by, say, every 7 days, 14 days, etc. Okay, so I'm going to click on next. Okay, I'm not going to go through all the detail of an imported contract, just because I'm going to do that in more detail when I do a manual one. Okay, just to show you the sort of things that's brought in. So again, my details are brought in, the client's details, you say here whether it's domestic, etc. I'm just going to knock this button off down here because for speed I'm not going to verify in this video. I'm going to skip past things. Okay, so you would quickly fill in the blanks. Okay, so you see that some of the data has been brought in from Estimator, but there are still things that you need to tick yourself. Okay, on the detailed cost breakdown, this is our build phases. Now, had you brought this in and you did have build phases with a value of 0 that you did not want to show on the contract, you can actually just select a build phase. I'm not going to do it for obvious reason, but you can select one and you can delete it. Okay, be warned, when you click the delete button, it's gone. If you realise you then need it, you have to start the import process again. So please be careful when you go deleting things. Okay, so this is showing all the build phases. Okay, and at the bottom of the money screen you have an option for adding in information about provisional sums. Okay, so you may have a provisional sum that's in here. So if we go add line, I'm just going to make this up. Okay, describe provisional sum could be £1,500. Try that again with a pound sign. Cost of drain runs, because you haven't investigated the ground, so there may be something strange going on. And at this option you can say whether or not this has been included in the contract price. So if it's already within the quote and the contract, you can say yes it is, or if this is additional, then you don't tick that. Okay, that will affect the wording on the final contract, and you can put a price in here. In fact, you actually don't need to put this 1500 over here. So as you can see, it's very easy to edit. You see I've typed that wrong. Cost of drain runs, okay, not a very imaginative provisional sum. Okay, now remember that the provisional sum is for an item that you're not sure of the cost of. Okay, not something where the customer has failed to make a decision. It's where you are unsure of the cost of something. The cost of steels pending a structural engineer's report, it would be another typical sort of provisional sum. Okay, so you need to add those in, and then you're going to say whether or not you've included this in this cost up here. So assuming that this has come from Estimator and assuming that you've supplied a quote already to your client, you may well say actually yes, that's already been incorporated into these costs. If it hasn't been, then remember to untick this. Okay, so once we're happy with that, click on next. Okay. So we've got various details about payment terms. So I'll go into this in more detail when we do a manual contract. And this is that option where it talks about milestones. So you can have payments by milestones of build phase, or you can say intermittent payments where you can actually set a payment period. Okay. Because we've brought it in from Estimator, these are already set up for you if you want to do it by milestones. Okay, so click next. Assumptions, again we'll go into more detail that later on. Again, it's going to ask about any supplementary documents you've got, so you may refer to a quote, you may refer to plans, etc. Okay, and then again there's a screen that's talking about your prime costs. So a typical example would be where the customer wants a kitchen, he wants you to get the kitchen, but as yet have not actually included, they have not selected the kitchen. So you can add PC sum, supplier. Okay, so you could know it's going to come from Howdens. We do also have an option to say that this is actually going to be defined later. Okay. So we're going to have a supplier. Kitchens are us. I'm not going to fill it in completely. Okay, I'm going to select that supplier. Description of PC sum. Kitchen units and goods. Have you included that in the contract price? Yes or no? And what's the sum you're thinking of there? So you might say, well, it might be £5,000. Okay. The reason that you're putting this into the contract is so that you're giving your customer an overall price for the job. Now, it might be a case of this isn't included because obviously this is a customer choice. The customer will be even deciding to purchase this themselves. This just gives you the option of whether or not you want to put it into the contract so that the customer is actually seeing the end overall price, including the extra parts such as this. Okay. Once you've added these in, click on Next. And again, you have an option for employers, subcontractors. So if the employer has an electrician that they want to use but they want you to manage, again you can put their details in here. Okay. Once we're happy with that, click on Next, and this gives you a preview of your quote, say of your contract. Click Finish. And it then brings us into the publishing screen. We're going to look in into this screen in more detail in video number 4. Okay, but before we finish here, we're just going to go back to our main menu. So I'm going to go File and Close. Yes, I want to save my changes. Obviously, you would probably call this a name of to do with your client. I'm just calling it House 2. Okay, so if imagine we want to make a new contract again, but this time we're going to do a subcontractor. So it's a contract between you and one of your subcontractors. Click on Next. Okay, you can create it manually, or again we have an option to use the details from a contract that you've already created for a client. So if I select this top option and hit Next, I can select the file, and there you go. So there's that contract I've just made between me and my client. If I select that and hit Open, it then feeds those details in again, so it saves you having to do some typing when you're creating a contract between yourself and your subcontractor. Okay, so I'll just whiz through that. Okay, and that is the basics of importing the data into ContractsXpert. Video 2, we're now actually going to go into the small works contract in more detail.